duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
I think a lot of people don't know that I'm an artist. I'm really spending the next 20 years of my work focusing on Black creatives and lifting up Black creativity, whether that's with the Crenshaw Dairy Mart or an MFA program. Usually when you see an art gallery come in, that means gentrification is coming. So what we're trying to do is actually root back down into the community and remind people that art doesn't have to be a gentrifying force. We can actually work in tandem together to help support and uplift the community.
The MFA program is a cohort that's mostly students of color. It's a mostly all people of color faculty, also deeply rare. So I feel very grateful for this program and what it's providing, not just my students, but me, and also the academic and art world.
How do we, yes, respond to the terrible, terrible crimes against humanity? And yet also, how do we build a vision where we can imagine Black people living, Black people thriving? We're fighting so hard because we have a vision. We have a vision for what we deserve, for what every single human being deserves. And when you think about Black Lives Matter, remember that our movement is about imagining a world where Black folks are actually free.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
Patrisse Cullors is best known as co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement, which has expanded into a global foundation supporting Black-led movements in the US, UK, and Canada, and has been nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. The New York Times recognized Black Lives Matter as the largest movement in US history. And in 2020, Time magazine recognized Patrisse as one of its 100 Women of the Year. In Los Angeles, Patrisse has been on the front lines of community organizing for 20 years, starting as a teenager. In that time, she led multiple LA-based organizations, Reform LA Jails and the Coalition to End Sheriff Violence in LA Jails, to name a few. She co-founded Dignity and Power Now, which implemented the first ever civilian oversight commission working with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. As a freedom fighter, Patrisse walks in the footsteps of Harriet Tubman. As a best-selling author, an educator, an artist, and an activist, she also walks in the footsteps of Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks, and Angela Davis by dedicating her life and her creative talent to a personal mission. For Patrisse, that means undoing the injustices of racism, sexism, and homophobia. In her words, when we say Black Lives Matter, we're talking about more than police brutality. We're talking about incarceration, healthcare, housing, education, and economics. To quote Patrisse when she's on fire, doesn't even begin to pay tribute to her creativity, her sensitivity, her artistry, her compassion, and my favorite, her laugh. As of 2020, Patrisse has brought her extraordinary voice to a multi-year overall production deal with Warner Brothers, developing and producing original programming across all platforms, including broadcast, cable, and streaming, with a goal to amplify Black storytelling, Black perspectives, Black talent, and Black creators. It is my great pleasure to present this ACLU Bill of Rights Award to someone who clearly can only speak truth to power, my friend, my hero, Patrisse Cullors.
Thank you so much, America, for that beautiful introduction. I am so grateful for you and so grateful for our friendship. And thank you to ACLU for this beautiful award, for this amazing recognition. I am over the moon that you all asked me to be awarded for this award season. And I just want to give this team context around how ACLU and I became collaborators, and ultimately so many folks in the organization have become my friends. In October of 2011, two major things happened in my life. First, my older brother Monty was released from prison after 6.5 years of serving a sentence for only being in a mental health episode. And secondly, I read the 86-page complaint led by the ACLU going after the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. In that complaint detailed some of the most brutal things I had only heard from my brother. And when I realized that the sheriffs were being sued for torture against human beings, the first person I called was Monty. And I said, they are finally being held accountable. And I remember his voice on the other end. I remember his breath on the other end of that phone call. And he said, finally. That 86-page complaint would lead to this brilliant and painful performance art piece that I created, Stained, an intimate portrayal of state violence that aestheticized the trauma through that 86-page complaint. That performance piece led to Dignity and Power Now, one of the first organizations that I founded alongside many other Angelenos, challenging the Sheriff's Department. A year later, I would develop BLM with my sisters, Alicia and Opal. And for the last 8 years, I have been creating art, I have been moving activism, and I've been developing a culture where we can finally call for abolition. Last summer, we saw some of the most amazing and most powerful protests across the world. And just a few days ago, we saw Kyle Rittenhouse be acquitted for the murder of multiple human beings during a protest. We need right now abolition. We need so many human beings to gather together, to join together so that we can call for love, so that we can call for care and dignity for all human beings. I'm grateful that I get to sit here today and talk to every single one of you about why abolition is so necessary in this moment. And I'm even more grateful that I get to work alongside of every single one of you to fight for a future where our children actually get to live and thrive. Thank you so much. Have a good night.